Is this on low?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Arctic Playhouse. Thank you guys so much for coming out and spending your afternoon with us. We're very thankful to have you here and supporting live entertainment. My name is Jim Belanger, along with Lloyd Felix. And a few things before we start the show. Very important, obviously, is everyone's safety. And in the unlikely event of an emergency, the doors that you came in, but also the doors on our right, straight through that back door, will bring you out into the back parking lot. This afternoon's show runs about 2 hours and 15 minutes. There will be an intermission between acts 1 and 2. This is a 3-act play. During that time, please once again help yourself to the free cookies and popcorn and coffee. There's also a cash bar and such, and we promise not to shut the lights off on you for the bathroom run. And you've been here before, you understand what that means. Unfortunately, we do really only have that one bathroom, and the new building will have 8, but we'll get to that in a second. As a problem for money. Thank you, Tony. What a great show. This has been a great run. Tony Annacone in the front seat. He's the director of the show. An amazing cast, some seasoned veterans and sometimes some on the stage for the first time. So it's always great when we can get that mix and pull it all together and make it so successful. Like we were talking about before the show runs, there will be a no intermission between acts 2 and 3. So if you would kind of stay in your seats, we appreciate that because the lights don't come up and we don't want anyone getting up and getting hurt and such. So you want to pace it, so I'll let you talk.
Want to talk about shows?
Go ahead.
Let's talk about shows. And so we have a great rest of our season coming up right now. First of all, I want to remind everybody that this Tuesday, which is the 24th, is our cabaret, our monthly cabaret at the new building at 1249 Main. An amazing show. It sells out every time. We still have a limited amount of tickets left, so if anybody is interested in those tickets, please order them right away. Next weekend, the 28th and the 29th of September, we have Thanks for the Memories. A very funny show. It deals with things that women have to deal with in life, and it's very funny. And it's a great show. It is being the funds for that are being donated 100% to the building fund from Ida Zeko. So we're very excited about it, and the tickets there are selling very well as well. So we're looking forward to that. Then after that, we have Visiting Mr. Green, which starts in 2 weeks from today. So we're very excited about that. We also have for Christmas, and you can say the Christmas shows.
We have the Christmas shows coming up. We have 2 one-act Christmas shows coming up, and we're really excited about being able to merge these 2 shows together. It's a great light kind of afternoon or evening. We're doing The Gift of the Magi, which is just wonderful and light and warm and really profound. And then we're also doing a great little show called Balls, is the name of it. And it's about, right? And it's about 5 Christmas tree ornaments. But wait, it gets better. There's about 5 Christmas tree ornaments, and they're all on stage, and they never, and they're talking about the 6th one that's missing out of the box, and it's really a wonderful show. When we listed it on Facebook that morning, we did, of course, forget the hyphen, so it went in as The Gift of the Magi Balls. Interested in that show. So yeah, the whole first show. So we have that. We also have Love Cruel coming up October 4th, and that'll be at the other building as well.
And that's it for shows.
That's it for shows. We're also working on you're going to present, so we're also working on an education program that we're really excited with, and they're having an open house on the 26th, which is Thursday of this week, in the afternoon. Please, we've got 3 great opportunities coming up. There's an a cappella group that's starting for teenagers. We also have a
Basic 101
theater, entering theater. Jeff Planchette is teaching that, and just a great kid and a great person all around. Excited to have him. And we're also doing Improv 101. So it's great, and to be able to take this space that we've grown and this great people that come and support us, and to be able to just keep building it is just exciting. So
now I want to also thank the volunteers. They're the ones who bake the cookies, make the popcorn, the coffee, run the box office, the bar, and all of those. They're the backbone of what keeps us going here. So we want to thank those. And we have a new volunteer tonight. The name is, I believe, Elaine. Thank you, Elaine. We also have Tom at the bar. We had Kathy at the box office. Of course, Deb and Philomena for helping sit people. We always appreciate all your hard work. And I think that was it for this afternoon's volunteers.
That's it.
I want to also thank our sponsors. They're the ones who help us keep our ticket prices of what we do, and keep all the free stuff going. And those sponsors are Centerville Bank, John J. Clark Insurance, Cardi's Furniture and Mattress, Designs by Kerry, Bridal Finery, Shimmer Technology, the Chorus of Kent County, and of course, last but not least, RISCA, Rhode Island State Council for the Arts, who gave us the initial grant to start the work at 1249 Main Street. And really, guys, check out one of those shows. They're amazing shows. The space is a great space. We're very proud of it.
Absolutely. And for this show, just one last thing, if you would, there's some very realistic sound effects that happen during the show. We want to just kind of give you a heads up for that. Please don't be concerned. They are just, in fact, sound effects. And as far as regular etiquette, we appreciate if you would turn your cell phones off. And not be texting or answering emails and such. And also, no videotaping and no flash photography. We appreciate that. And thank you guys again for supporting. Thank you for this great show in the last run.
Thank you.
All right.
Where's your tobacco?
I think I left it on the table. It's gonna rain tonight.
Paper says so,
Yep, right here.
but it can't rain.
Hiya!
Hey, Frank, what's doing?
Nothing? Walking off those free cookies? That beautiful? Not a cloud.
Yeah, nice.
Every Sunday ought to be like this.
Hey, you want the paper?
Ah, what's the difference? It's all bad news anyway. What's today's calamity?
Oh, no, I don't read the news section anymore. It's more interesting in the want ads.
Why? You trying to buy something?
I'm just more interested to see what people want, you know? For instance, here's a guy who wants 2 Newfoundland dogs. Now, what's a man want with 2 Newfoundland dogs?
That is funny.
Here's another one. Wanted Old Dictionary. High prices paid. What's a man want with Old Dictionary?
Why not? Probably a book collector.
What, you mean he'll make a living out of that?
Sure, there's a lot of them.
All the kind of businesses going on now. In my day, you were either a doctor or a lawyer, you worked in a shop. Now,
Well, I was going to be a forester once.
oh, see, that goes to show you. In my day, there was no such thing.
Hey, what happened to your tree?
Ain't that awful? Wind must have got it. You heard the wind, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a mess in my yard too. What a pity. What'd Kate say?
Oh, they're all still asleep yet. I'm waiting for her to see it.
You know, it's funny.
What?
Larry was born in August. He'd have been 27 this month, and his tree blows down.
I'm surprised you remember his birthday, Frank. That's nice.
Well, I'm working on his horoscope.
Now, how can you make him a horoscope? That's for the future, ain't it?
Well, what I'm trying to do is this, see? Larry was reported missing on November 25th, right?
Yeah?
Well, then we assume that if he was killed, it was on November 25th. Now, what Kate wants
Oh, Kate asked you to make the horoscope?
is... Yeah. What she wants to find out is whether November 25th was a favorable day for Larry.
Now, what is that favorable day?
Well, a favorable day for a person is a fortunate day, according to their stars. In other words, it'd be completely impossible for him to have died on this favorable day.
So, was that his favorable day, November 25th?
That's what I'm trying to find out. It takes time. The point is, if November 25th was his favorable day, then it's completely possible that he's alive out there somewhere. Because it's possible. Oh, I didn't even see him.
Is he talking sense?
Him? Oh, he's all right. Just completely out of his mind, that's all.
The trouble with you is, you don't believe in anything.
And your trouble is, you believe in anything. You didn't see my kid this morning, did you?
No.
Oh, imagine he walked off with his thermometer right out of his bag.
What a problem. One look at a girl and he takes her temperature.
That boy's gonna be a real doctor. He's smart.
Over my dead body, he'll be a doctor. Good beginning, too.
Why? It's an honorable profession.
Oh, Frank, will you stop talking like a civics book?
Why? I saw a movie a couple weeks ago. Reminded me of you. There was a doctor in that picture.
Don Amici.
I think it was, yeah. And he worked in his basement discovering things. That's what you ought to do. You could help humanity instead of,
I would love to help humanity on a Warner Brothers salary.
That's very good, Jim.
Well, where is the beautiful girl who's supposed to be here?
Annie came?
Sure, sleeping upstairs. We picked her up on the 1 o'clock train last night. You know, it's a wonderful thing. Girl leaves here a scrawny kid, a couple of years go by, she's a regular woman. I hardly recognized her, and she's been running in and out of this yard her whole life. I was a very happy family used to live in your house, Jim.
Like to meet her. The block can use a pretty girl.
Mrs. Adams is on the phone, you
In the
dog.
whole neighborhood, there's not a damn thing to look at, except my wife. My love. My light.
Don't go sniffing around me. Give her a nasty answer. I can smell her perfume over the phone.
What is the matter with her now?
Oh, I don't know, dear. It sounds like she's in terrible pain, unless her mouth is full of candy.
Why don't you just tell her to lay down?
Oh, she likes it better when you tell her to lay down. And when are you going to see Mr. Hubbard?
My dear, Mr. Hubbard is not sick, and I have better things to do than sit there and hold his hand.
Well, it seems to me that for $10 you could hold his hand.
If your son wants to play golf, tell him I'm ready. Or if he'd like to take a trip around the world for about 30 years.
Why do you needle him? He's a doctor. Women are supposed to call him up.
All I said was Mrs. Adams is on the phone. Can I have some of your parsley?
Yeah, sure. Been a nurse too long, Susie. You're too realistic.
Now you said it.
Frank, the toaster's off. Hiya!
Hello.
Frank, the toaster's off again.
Well, plug it in. I just fixed it.
Oh, please, dear, fix it back like you did before.
I don't know why you can't learn to turn on a simple thing like a toaster.
Thomas Edison.
Oh, he's really very handy. Did the wind hit your tree?
Yeah, last night.
Ah, what a pity. Annie get in?
Yeah, she'll be down soon. Hey, wait till you meet her, Sue. She's a knockout.
I should have been a man. People always introducing me to beautiful women. Well, anyways, tell her to come by and see the house. I'm sure she'd like to see what we've done. Thank you.
Is she still unhappy, Joe?
Annie? Well, I don't suppose she goes dancing around on her toes, but she seems to be over it.
Is she gonna get married? Is there anybody?
I suppose. It's been a couple of years already. She can't mourn a boy forever.
So strange. Annie's here and not even married. And I've got 3 babies. I always thought it would be the other way around.
Well, that's what war does. I had 2 sons, now I got 1. Changed all the tallies. In my day, it was an honor to have sons. Now, doctor could make $1 million if he could figure out a way to bring a boy into this world without a trigger finger.
No, I was just reading. Oh, hiya, Chris.
Lydia, come in here. If you want the toaster to work, don't plug in the malted mixer.
Did I?
Next time I fix something, don't tell me I'm crazy. Now come in here.
Oh, I'll never hear the end of this.
Hey, so what's the difference? Instead of toast, you have a malted, huh? You want the paper?
Oh, no, that's all right. Just the book section.
If you're always reading the book section, you never buy a book.
Well, I like to keep abreast of my ignorance.
What is that, every week a new book comes out?
A lot of new books,
All different.
all different.
Is Annie up yet?
Mother's giving her breakfast in the dining room.
You see what happened to the tree?
Yeah.
What's Mother gonna say?
Mr. Keller, Mr. Keller.
Hey, Bert's up. Where's Tommy? He's got his father's thermometer again.
He's taking a reading,
What?
but it's only oral.
Oh, well. There's no harm in oral. So what's new this morning, Bert?
Nothing.
Nothing? Then you could have made a complete inspection of the block. You know, when I first made you a policeman, you used to come in every morning with something new. And now, well, nothing's ever new.
Except some kids from 30th Street. They started kicking a kid down the block, and I made them go away because you were sleeping.
Ah, now you're talking, Bert. Now you're on the ball. Next thing you know, I'm liable to make you a detective.
Can I see the jail now?
You know, Bert, seeing the jail ain't allowed. You know that.
I don't think there's even a jail. I don't see bars on the cellar window.
Bert, on my word of honor, there is a jail in the basement. Hey, I showed you my gun, didn't I?
But that's a hunting gun.
Oh, that's an arresting gun.
Then how come you don't arrest anybody? Tommy said another dirty word to Doris yesterday, and you didn't even demote him.
Oh, yeah. That's a dangerous character, that Tommy. So, what word does he say?
Oh, I can't say that.
Well, give me an idea.
I can't. It's not a nice word.
All right, just whisper it in my ear. I probably won't even hear it. I'll close my eyes.
I can't, Mr. Keller.
Oh, now don't make him do that.
All right, Bert, I take your word. Now go out and keep both eyes peeled.
For what?
For what? Bert, the whole neighborhood's depending on you. And a policeman don't ask questions. Now go out and peel them eyes.
Okay.
And Bert, mum's the word.
About what?
Just in general. Be very careful.
Okay.
I got all the kids crazy.
Yeah, and one day they'll all come in here and beat your brains in.
What's she gonna say? Maybe we ought to tell her before she sees it.
She saw it.
How could she see it? I was the first one up. They were all still asleep yet.
She was out here when it broke.
When?
About 4 this morning. I heard it cracking and I looked out the window. She was standing right here when it broke.
What is she doing out here at 4 in the morning?
I don't know, but when it cracked, she ran back into the house and she cried in the kitchen.
Did you talk to her?
No. I figured the best thing to do was to leave her alone.
She cried hard?
I could hear her right through the floor of my bedroom.
What is she doing out here at that hour? She's dreaming about him again. She's
I-
walking around at night.
I guess she is.
She's getting just like after he first died. Now what's the meaning of that?
Oh, well, I don't know the meaning of it. But I do know one thing, Dad. We've made a terrible mistake with Mother.
What?
Being dishonest with her. That kind of thing always pays off, and now it's paying off.
Now what do you mean dishonest?
Dad, you know, and I know, that Larry isn't coming back anymore. Why do we allow her to go on to continue to think that we believe with her?
What do you want me to do? Argue with her?
No, Dad, I don't want to argue with her, but I think it's time that she's realized. Nobody believes Larry is alive anymore. Why shouldn't she dream of him? Walk the nights waiting for him? Do we contradict her? Do we tell her straight out that we have no hope anymore, that we haven't had any hope for years now?
You can't say that to her.
Dad, we've got to say that to her.
How are you going to prove it? Can you prove it?
For God's sakes, Dad, 3 years? Nobody comes back after 3 years. That's insane.
To you it is, and to me, but not to her. Now you can talk yourself blue in the face, but there's no body and there's no grave. So where are you?
All right, Dad, sit down. There's something I want to talk to you about.
Listen, goddamn newspapers. Every month some boy turns up from nowhere, so the next one's going to be Larry.
All right,
so...
Dad, now, you know why I asked Annie here, don't you?
Why?
Dad, you know.
Well, I have an idea, but what's the story?
I'm going to ask her to marry me.
Well, that's only your business.
Dad, you know that that's not only my business.
What do you want me to say? You're old enough to know your own mind.
All right, then, I guess I'll go ahead with it.
Now, you want to make sure Mother isn't...
Then it's not only my business.
Just say it.
Look, Dad, sometimes you infuriate me. Isn't this your business, too? If I ask this of Mother, and she throws a fit about it, Dad, sometimes you have such a talent for ignoring things.
I ignore what I got to ignore. The girl is Larry's girl.
She's not Larry's
From
girl.
your mother's point of view, he's still alive and you have no right to take his girl. Now, you can go on from there if you know where to go. But I don't know where to go. See, I don't know. So how can I help you?
You know, Dad, I don't know why it is that every time I try to reach out for something I want, I have to hold back because other people will suffer. My whole bloody life, time after time after time.
You're a considerate fella, Chris. There's nothing wrong with that.
To hell with that.
Did you ask Annie yet?
I wanted to get this settled first.
You know, she'll marry you. Maybe she feels the same way Mother does.
Well, if she does, then that's the end of it. But from her letters, I think she's forgotten him. I'll find out. Then we'll thrash it out with Mother, right, Dad? Dad, don't ignore me.
You know, the trouble is, you don't see enough women. You never did.
So what? I'm not fast with women.
Well, I don't understand why it has to be Annie.
Because it is.
Oh, that's a good answer. But it don't answer anything. You haven't seen her since you went to war. It's been 5 years.
I can't help it. I know her best. I was brought up next door to her my whole life. These years, when I think of someone for my wife, I think of Annie. Now, what do you want, a diagram?
No, I don't want a diagram, Chris. She thinks he's coming back, Chris. You marry that girl and you're pronouncing him dead. Now, what is that going to do to Mother? Do you know? Because I don't.
Oh, all right then, Dad.
Look, just give it some more thought.
I've given it 3 years of thought. I thought that if I waited, I could return home and Mother would forget Larry. And I could have a regular wedding and everything happy. But if I can't have that here, well, then I'll get out.
What the hell is this?
I'll get out. I'll go live someplace else, maybe New York City.
Are you crazy?
I've been a good son too long. A good sucker. I'm through with it.
You've got a business here. What the hell is
The
this?
business doesn't inspire me.
Oh, Jesus, must you be inspired?
Yes. Yes, I like it for about an hour a day. But if I have to grub all day long for money, at least at evening, I want it beautiful. I want a wife. I want to have a family. I want some kids. I want to build something I can give myself to. And Annie is in the middle of that. Now where do I find it?
You mean, tell me something. You mean you'd leave the business?
Yes, on this I would.
You don't want to be thinking like that.
Well, Dad, then you help me stay here.
All right, but you don't want to be thinking like that. Otherwise, what did I work for, Chris? Everything's been for you. The whole shooting match has been for you.
I know that, Dad. Dad, just you. You help me stay here.
You don't want to be thinking like that. You hear me?
Well, I am thinking like that.
I don't understand you at all, do I?
No, you don't. I'm a pretty tough guy.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, huh? Tough guy.
Joe,
Hello there, Mother.
did you take a bag from under the sink?
Yeah, I put it in the pail.
Get it out of the pail, that's my potatoes.
I thought it was garbage.
Do me a favor, Joe. Don't be helpful.
I can afford another bag of potatoes.
Made me scoured that pail last night with boiling water. It's cleaner in your teeth.
I don't understand why after I worked 40 years and I got a maid, why I'm the one taking out the garbage.
If you would make up your mind that every bag in the kitchen isn't full of garbage, you wouldn't be throwing out my vegetables. Last time it was the onions.
Hey, I don't like garbage in the house.
So don't eat.
Well, that settles you for today.
Yep, I'm in last place again. You know, once upon a time I used to think when I got money again, I would have a maid. My wife would take it easy. Well, now I got money, and I got a maid, and my wife is working for the maid.
It's her day off. What are you crabbing about?
Isn't Annie finished eating yet?
Should be out in just a minute. Lynn did some job on this place. So much for that, thank God.
There, sit down, calm down.
I've got such a funny pain on the top of my head.
Can I get you an aspirin?
No more roses. It's funny. Everything decides to happen at once. This month's his birthday. His tree blows down. Annie comes. It's like everything that happened is coming back. I was just down the cellar, and what do I stumble over? This baseball glove. Haven't seen that in a century.
Mother, don't you think that Annie is looking well?
Fine. She's a beauty, there's no question about it. Still, I wish I knew what brought her here. Not that I'm not glad to see her.
Oh, well, I just thought that we would all like to see her again. That, and I wanted to see her for myself.
The only thing is, I think her nose got longer. Still, I will always love that girl. She's one that didn't hop into bed with the first guy to come along after it happened with her fellow.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Never mind. Most of them didn't wait till the envelopes were open. I'm just glad she's here. You can see I'm not completely out of my mind.
Mother, just because Annie isn't married yet, doesn't mean that she's still mourning Larry.
Why then isn't she?
I don't know. Could be any number of reasons.
Like what, for instance?
I don't know. Whatever it is. Could I get you an aspirin?
It's not like a headache.
Don't sleep enough, that's why. You're wearing out more bedroom slippers than shoes.
I had a terrible night. I have never had a night like that.
What was it, Mom? Did you dream?
More than a dream.
Was it about Larry?
I was fast asleep and remember how he used to fly low past the house when he was in training? We could see his face in the cockpit flying by. That's how I saw him. Only high up. Way, way up where the clouds are. He was so real I could reach out and touch him. And then suddenly he started falling and crying to me. Mom! Mom! It was like he was in the room. Mom! It was his voice. I knew that if I could touch him, I could stop him, if I could only... I woke up, and it was so funny. The wind, it was like the roaring of his engine going by, and I came outside, and I must have still been half asleep, and I could hear that roaring, and his tree snapped right in half, and I came away. See, we never should have planted that tree. I said so in the first place. It was too soon to plant a tree for him.
Too soon?
We rushed into it. Everybody was in such a hurry to bury him. I told you it was too soon to plant that tree.
Mother, the wind blew it down. What significance has that got? Mother, please don't go through it all again. It doesn't do any good. It doesn't accomplish anything. You know, lately I've been thinking that maybe we should be putting our minds to forgetting Larry.
That's the third time you've said that this week.
Because it isn't right. We never took up our lives again. It's like we're waiting at a train station for a train that just never comes in.
Get me an aspirin, will you?
Sure thing, Mom. I was thinking that the four of us could go out for dinner at the shore, maybe out for some dancing. What do you think?
Fine. We could do it tonight.
Sure thing. We'll have some fun, Mother. You'll see. We'll start with this aspirin.
Why did he invite her here?
Why does that bother you?
She's been in New York for 3.5 years. Why all of a sudden?
Maybe he just wanted to see her.
Nobody comes 700 miles just to see.
What are you talking about? He lived next door to the girl his whole life. Why shouldn't he want to see her? Don't look at me like that. He hasn't told me any more than he's told you.
He's not going to marry her.
How do you know he's even thinking about it?
He's got that about it.
Well, so what?
What's going on here, Joe?
Listen, kid.
She is not his girl. She knows she's not.
You can't read her mind.
Why then is she still single? New York is full of men. Why hasn't she married? Probably 100 people have told her she's foolish, but she has waited.
You don't know why she's waited.
Because she knows what I know. When I think of that girl, faithful as a rock, waiting for him, I know again that I'm right.
Look, it's a nice day. What are we arguing for?
No one in this house does take her faith away. Strangers might, but not his father and not his brother.
What do you want me to do, huh? What do you want?
I want you to act like he's coming back. Both of you. Don't think I haven't noticed you since he invited her. I won't stand for any nonsense.
But Kate...
Because if he's not coming back, I will kill myself. Laugh at me. But why did that happen the very night she comes back? But there are meanings in such things. She comes and sleeps in his room, and his memorial breaks into 1,000,000 pieces.
Calm yourself. Calm yourself.
Leave with me, Joe. I can't stand alone.
Calm yourself.
Just the other day, a man turned up missing longer than Larry from Detroit. You read it yourself.
All right. Calm yourself.
You above all have got to believe.
Why me above all? Huh?
Just don't stop believing.
What does that mean, me above all?
Mr. Keller, Tommy just said it again.
Said what? Who?
The dirty word.
Oh, well.
Aren't you going to arrest him?
Stop
I warned him.
that, Bert. There's no jail here. Go home.
Kate.
There's no jail here. I want you to stop that jail business.
He's right across the street.
Go home, Bert. I want you to stop that whole jail business.
Look at you. Look at you shaking. What have I got to hide, huh? The hell's the matter with you, Kate?
I didn't say you had anything to hide. I just want you to stop it. Now stop. Hiya, Joe.
Take a breath of that air, kid. You never get air like that in New York City.
Anywhere. Did you get that dress?
I couldn't resist. I'm gonna take it off before I ruin it. How's that for 3 weeks' salary?
Isn't she just? It is gorgeous. Simply
No
gorgeous.
kidding. Ain't she the prettiest gal you ever saw?
Gained a little weight, haven't you, dear?
It comes and goes.
Oh, look how nice her legs turned out.
Boy, those poplars got thick, didn't they?
Well, it's been 3 years, Annie. You're getting old, kid.
How's your mom like New York?
Why'd they take our hammock away?
Oh, no, that broke a couple of years ago.
What, bro? Jim had one of his light lunches and flopped into it.
Oh, excuse me.
How do you do? She looks very intelligent.
And this is Jim, Dr. Bayless.
Oh, sure, he writes a lot about you.
Don't believe a word of it. He likes everybody. In the battalion, he was known as Mother McKellar.
I can believe it. You know, it's so strange seeing him come out of that yard. I guess I never grew up. It almost seems like Mom and Pop are in there now, and oh, you and my brother doing algebra, and Larry trying to copy my homework. Gosh, those dear dead days beyond recall.
I hope that doesn't mean you want me to move out.
Jim, come in here, please. Mr. Hubbard's on the phone.
I told you I
Please,
don't
dear,
want...
please.
All right, Susie. All right. All right. And I've only just met you, but if I may offer you a word of advice, when you marry, never, even in your mind, never count your husband's money.
Jim!
At once! At once!
I told her to take up the guitar. Be a common interest for them. Oh, he loves the guitar.
Let's eat at the shore tonight. Raise some hell around here like we used to before Larry went.
You think of him. See, she thinks of him.
What do you mean, Kate?
Nothing. Just that you remember him. He's in your thoughts.
That's a funny thing to say. How could I help remembering him?
Did you hang up your things, dear?
Yeah. Say, you sure gone in for clothes. I could hardly find room in the closet.
Don't you remember? That's Larry's room.
You mean they're Larry's?
Didn't you recognize them?
It never occurred to me that, I mean, the shoes are all shined.
Yes, dear. For so long now, Annie, I have been aching for a nice conversation with you. Tell me something.
What?
I don't know, something nice.
She means, do you go out much?
Shut up.
And are any of them serious?
Why don't you both joke?
Annie, you can't go into a restaurant with this woman anymore. In 5 minutes, 39 strangers are sitting at the table telling her their life story.
If I can't ask Annie a personal question,
Oh, asking's all right. Don't beat her over the head with it. You're beating her, you're beating her.
Don't let them bulldoze you. Ask me whatever you like. What do you want to know, Kate? Come on,
She's
let's gossip.
the only one with any sense. So your mother, she's not getting a divorce, huh?
No, she's calmed down a bit now. I think when he gets out, they'll probably live together. In New York, of course.
Well, that's fine. Your father is still, he's still a decent man after all is said and done.
I don't care. She can take him back if she likes.
And, you go out much?
You mean, am I still waiting for him?
No, I don't expect you to wait for him, but,
But that's what you mean, isn't it?
well, yes,
Well, I'm not, Kate.
you're not.
Isn't it ridiculous? You don't really
I know,
imagine.
dear, but don't say it's ridiculous. The papers are full of it. I don't know about New York, but yesterday there was a half page in the paper about a man missing even longer than Larry, and he turned up from Burma.
Well, I don't know, Mom. He couldn't have wanted to come home very badly.
Don't be so smart.
I'm just saying. You can have a hell of a time in Burma.
So I've heard.
You know, Mother, I'll bet you're the only woman on the planet who, after 3 years...
You are sure?
Yes, I am.
Well, if you're sure, you're sure. They may not say it on the radio, but I'm sure that in the dark, at night, they're still waiting for their sons.
Oh, Mother, now, you're absolutely...
Oh, don't be so damn smart. Sit down. Be quiet, all of you. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something, Annie. Deep in your heart, you have always been waiting for him.
No, Kate.
But deep in your heart,
She ought to know, shouldn't she?
don't let them tell you what to think. Listen to your heart, only your heart.
Why does your heart tell you he's alive?
Because he has to be.
But why, Kate?
Because certain things have to be, and certain things can never be. Like the sun has to rise, it has to be. That's why there's God. Otherwise, anything could happen. But there's God, so certain things can never happen. I would know, Annie, the way I knew that day he went into that terrible battle. Was it in the papers? Did he write me? No. But that morning I couldn't lift my head off the pillow. Ask Joe. Suddenly I knew, and he was nearly killed that day. You know I'm right, Annie.
No, Kate.
I have to have some tea.
Annie?
How are you? Gee whiz!
My Frank! You gained a little weight.
Well, Frank's got responsibilities now.
Gee whiz!
Without Frank, the stars wouldn't know when to come out.
You look more womanly. You've matured.
Easy, Frank. You're a married man now.
Are you still haberdashering?
Why not? Maybe I too could get to be president like Truman. How's your brother? Got his degree, I hear.
Oh, George has his own office now.
Don't say. And your dad, is he?
He's fine.
How
I'll be
about
in
it?
to see Lydia.
Does dad expect a parole soon?
I really don't know.
I mean, because I feel, that if an intelligent man like your father's put in prison, there ought to be a law that says either you execute him or you let him go after a year.
Hey, you want a hand with that ladder, Frank?
Oh, that's all right. I'll finish the horoscope tonight, Kate. See you later, Anne. You look wonderful.
Haven't they stopped talking about Dad?
Nobody talks about him anymore.
Gone and forgotten,
Oh,
kid.
tell me, because I don't want to be any
No, Anne, I don't want you to worry about it.
They still remember the case, Jack. Do they still talk about you?
The only one still talks about it is my wife.
That's because you're still playing policeman with all the children. All their parents hear from you is jail, jail, jail.
Actually, what happened is when I got home from the penitentiary, the kids got kind of interested in me. You know kids. And I became like the expert on the whole jail situation. And then as time passed, well, they got it confused and I ended up a detective.
Except that they didn't get it confused. He gives out badges from the post toast bus.
Gosh, it's wonderful to hear you laughing about it.
Well, sure. Well, why? What did you expect?
Last thing I remember on this block is one word: murderers. Do you remember that, Kate? Mrs. Hammond standing in front of our house and yelling that word? She's still around, I suppose.
They're all still around.
Don't listen to her. Every Saturday, the gang is right here in this arbor playing poker. All the ones that used to yell murderer, well, they're taking my money now.
Don't, Joe. She's a sensitive girl, don't fool her. They still remember about Dad. Different with him. He was exonerated, but your father's still there. I wasn't so enthusiastic about you coming, Annie. I know how sensitive you are, and I said to Chris, I don't...
Listen, kid, you do like I did, you'll be all right. The day I come home, I get out of my car. Only not in front of the house, down in the corner. You should have been there, Annie, and you too, Chris. You'd have seen something that day. Everybody knew I was getting out, and the porches were loaded. Picture it now. No one believed I was innocent. The story was I pulled a fast one to get myself exonerated. So, I get out of my car, and I walk down the street, but very slow, and with a smile. The Beast. I was the Beast. The guy who sold cracked cylinder heads to the Army and Air Force. The guy who made 21 P-40s crash in Australia. Kid, walking down the street that day, I was guilty as hell. Except I wasn't. And there was a court paper in my pocket to prove I wasn't. So, I walked past the porches. The result? 14 months later, I got one of the biggest shops in the state again. Respected man again, bigger than ever.
Joe McGuts!
The only way to lick them is with guts. Now, Annie, the worst thing you did was move away from here. You made it hard for your father when he gets out. That's why I tell you, I'd like to see him move right back here on this block when he gets out.
How could they move back?
It ain't gonna end till they move back. Till people play cards with him again and talk with him and smile with him. Hey, you play cards with a man, you know he can't be a murderer. The next time you write that, I want you to tell him just what I said. You hear me?
Don't you hold anything against him?
I don't believe in crucifying people, Annie.
He was your partner. He dragged you through the mud.
Well, he ain't my sweetheart. But you gotta forgive, don't you?
You either, Kate. Don't you feel
Now
it?
listen, the next time you write
I
that...
don't write him.
Every now and then.
No, I've never written to him. Neither has my brother. Say, do you feel this way too?
He murdered 21 pilots.
What the hell kind of talk is that?
What kind of thing is that to say about a man?
What else can you say? When they took him away, I followed him. I went to him every visiting day. I was crying all the time. So the news came about Larry. And then I realized it's wrong to pity a man like that. Father or no father, there's only one way to look at him. He knowingly shipped out parts that would crash an airplane. And how do you know Larry's wasn't one of them?
I was waiting for that. Annie, as long as you're here, I'd like to ask you never to say that again.
Surprise me. I thought you'd be mad at him.
What your father did had nothing to do with Larry, nothing.
But we can't know that.
As long as you're here,
But Kate-
put it out of your head.
Because
That's all. That's enough. Now come inside and have tea.
the one thing you...
He's not dead, so there's no argument. Come.
In a minute. Now look...
All right, then, that's enough. Then put it out.
No, you want her to go on like this? Annie.
No, cut it out now. I'm sick of the whole subject.
No, she doesn't feel that way. Annie, those cylinder heads went into P-40s only. What's the matter with you? You know Larry never flew a P-40.
Then who flew those P-40s, huh? Pigs?
Look, the man was a fool, but don't make a murderer out of him. You got no sense? Look what it does to her. You gotta appreciate what was happening in that shop during the war, the both of you. It was a madhouse. The major calling every half hour for cylinder heads. They were whipping us with the telephone, and the trucks were hauling them away hot, damn near. Just try to see it human. See it human. All right, so a batch comes out with a crack. That happens. That's business. A fine hairline crack. All right, so he's a little man, your father, always afraid of loud voices. What'll the major say? Half a day's production shot. What'll I say? You see, human. So he takes out his tools and he covers the crack. All right, that's bad. That's wrong. But that's what a little man does. If I could have gone in that day, I'd have told him, junk him, Steve, we can afford it. But alone, he was afraid. I know he meant no harm. He felt those heads would hold up 100%. That's a mistake, but it ain't murder. You mustn't feel that inside. You understand me? It ain't right.
Joe, let's just forget it.
Annie, the day the news came out about Larry, he was in the cell next to mine, Dad. And he cried, Annie. He cried half the night.
He should have cried all night.
I don't understand why.
I should stop it. Stop it.
Don't yell at him. He just wants everyone to be happy.
Yes, that's my sentiments. Hey, can you stand a steak?
And champagne.
Now you're operating, huh? I'll call Swanson's for a table. Big night tonight, Annie.
Oh, you can't scare me.
Hey, I like this girl. Wrap her up, huh? You got nice legs, Annie. Hey, I want to see everybody drunk tonight. Look at him, he's blushing over there.
Yeah, all right. Go drink your tea, Casanova. He's a great guy, isn't he?
The only one I know is to love his parents.
I know, it kind of went out of style, didn't it?
That's all right. It's a good thing. You know, it's lovely here. The air is sweet.
So, you're not sorry you came?
Not sorry, no, but I'm not gonna stay.
Why not?
Well, in the first place, your mother as much as told me to
Well-
go. And you saw that, and you kind of...
What?
Well, you've been kind of embarrassed ever since I got here.
The trouble is, I sort of planned on sneaking up on you over the course of a week or so, but they take it for granted that we're all set.
I knew they would. Your mother, anyway.
How did you
Well,
know?
from her point of view, why else would I come?
Well, I mean, would you want to? I mean, I guess you know this is why I asked you to come.
I guess this is why I came.
And I love you. I love you a great deal. I love you. I have no imagination. That's all I know how to tell you. I'm embarrassing you. I didn't want to do this here. I wanted to go someplace we'd never been before. Someplace where we could be brand new to each other. You feel that it's wrong here, don't you? This yard, this chair. Oh, Annie, I want you to be ready for me. I didn't want to win you away from anything.
Yes, I've been ready for a long, long time.
So then he's gone forever, you're sure?
We almost got married 2 years ago.
Why didn't you?
He started to write me.
You felt something that far back?
Every day since.
Anne, why did you let me know?
I was waiting for you, Chris. Till then, you never wrote. And when you did, what did you say? You'd be so ambiguous, you know.
Anne, give me a kiss. Give me a... Oh, God. Oh, God, I kissed you. God, I kissed Annie. Oh, God, how long have I been waiting to kiss you?
Never forgive you. Why did you wait all these years? All I've done is sit and wonder if I was crazy for thinking of you.
Annie, I'm going to make you so happy now.
Not like that, you're not.
I kissed you.
Like Larry's brother. Do it like Chris. What is it, Chris?
Let's drive someplace. I want to be alone with you.
No, what is it, Chris? Your mother?
No, nothing like that.
And what's wrong? Even in your letters there was something ashamed.
Yes, I suppose I have been. But it's going from me now.
You've got to tell me.
I wouldn't know where to start.
It'll never work this way.
It's just that it's so mixed up with so many other feelings. And you remember overseas, when I was in command of a company,
Yeah, sure.
well, I lost them.
How many?
Just about all.
Oh, jeez.
It takes some time to just toss that off. Because they weren't just men. For instance, this one time, it had been raining for several days. And this kid came up to me and he just gave me his last pair of dry socks. He just put them in my pocket. kind of thing that's just a little thing, but that shows you the kind of guys I had for me, you know? These guys, they didn't die. They would kill themselves for each other. I mean that exactly. If they had been a little more selfish, they'd still be here today. And I got an idea. Watching it all go down, everything was being destroyed. See, but there seemed to me that there was one new thing made. A kind of a responsibility. Man for man, you understand me? To show that. To take that out of the earth again, like it was some kind of a monument. And it stands there behind him. And they can feel that power. And it makes a difference to them. And then I came home. And it was incredible because here at home, nothing had changed. Nobody was any different. To them, it seemed like it was a kind of a bus accident. And I went back to work for Dad. And that rat race again. And I felt what you said. I felt ashamed somehow. Because nobody was any different. You know, it seemed to make suckers out of a lot of guys. And I felt wrong to be alive. It felt wrong to open that bank book, to drive the new car, to see that new refrigerator, because you can take those things out of a war, but when you drive that car, you have to realize that came out of the love a man can have for a man. And you've got to be a little bit better because of that. Because otherwise, Ann, all you have is loot, really. And there's blood on that. And I didn't want to take any of that. And I guess that included you.
And you still feel that way.
I want you now,
But
Ann.
you mustn't feel that way anymore. Because you have a right to whatever you have. Everything, Chris. Do you understand that? To me, too. And your money, there is nothing wrong with your money. Your father put hundreds of planes in the air. You should be proud. A man should be paid for that.
Oh, Annie. Annie, I'm going to make a fortune for you.
Hello? Yeah, sure.
What'll I do with a fortune?
Hey, Ann, your brother. Whoa! What is this, Labor Day?
All right.
Shouldn't have burst out like that.
But he told me it was Labor Day. Hey, where are the hot dogs?
All right, I just said it once already.
Well, now that I know that it's Labor Day, from now on I'll wear a bell around my neck.
He's so subtle.
Yeah, George Bernard Shaw as an elephant.
Oh, George, you kissed it right out of my head. Your brother's on the phone.
My brother?
Yeah, George. Long distance.
What's the matter? Is anything wrong?
I don't know, Kate's talking to him. You better hurry, it's gonna cost him $5.
I wonder if we ought to wait to tell your mother. I mean, I'm not very good at an argument.
We'll wait till tonight, after dinner. Now, don't get tense. Just leave everything to me. Go ahead, Ann.
What are you telling her?
Well, we're getting married, Dad. Hey, well, don't you say something?
Oh, I'm glad, Chris. It's just, George is calling from Columbus.
Columbus?
Yeah, did Annie say anything about him talking to his dad
No.
today?
I don't think she knew anything about it.
Chris, you think you know her pretty good?
Yeah. What kind of a question is that?
I'm just wondering, all these years you don't go see his father, suddenly he goes and, well, she comes here.
Well, what about it?
It's crazy, but it comes to my mind. She don't hold nothing against me, does she?
Come on, Dad. What are you talking about?
I'm just talking. To his last day in court, the man blamed it all on me. And now this is his daughter. If she was sentenced to to find out something.
Why? What is there to find out?
Why are you so excited, George? What happened there?
I mean, if they wanted to open the case again, for the nuisance value to hurt us.
Oh, come
What
on,
did you
Dad.
say?
I mean, how could you think that of her?
Couldn't be.
Dad, that sometimes you amaze me.
All right, forget it. I want a clean start for you, Chris, huh? I want a new sign over the plant, Christopher Keller Incorporated.
Dad, J.O. Keller is good enough.
We'll talk about it, huh? Hey, I'm gonna build you a house, stone, with a driveway up from the road. I want you to spread out, Chris. I want you to use what I made for you. With joy, without shame, with joy.
I will, Dad.
Say it to me.
Why?
Because sometimes I think you're afraid of that money.
No, Dad, don't feel that way.
It's good money, Chris. There's nothing wrong with that money.
Dad, you don't have to tell me this.
All right. I'll work on Mother for you, huh? We'll get her so drunk we'll all get married, huh? Hey, it's gonna be a wedding, kid. Champagne, tuxedos, the biggest you've ever seen.
Simply because when you get excited, you don't control yourself. Well, what did he tell you, for God's sake? All right, come then. Yes, they'll all be here. Nobody's running away from you. And try to get a hold of yourself, will you? All right. Goodbye.
Hey, did something happen?
He's coming here?
On the 7 o'clock. He's in Columbus. I told him it would be all right.
Oh, sure, fine. Your father took sick?
No, George didn't say he was sick. I don't know. I suppose it's something stupid. You know my brother. Say, let's go for a drive or something.
Yeah, sure thing. Can I have the keys, Dad?
Go through the park. It's beautiful now.
Sure thing. We will. I'll be back right away.
See you.
Take your time. What does George want?
He's been in Columbus since this morning with Steve. He's got to see Annie right away, he says.
What for?
I don't know. George is a lawyer now, Joe. He's a lawyer. All these years, he never even sent Steve a postcard. Since he's back from the war, not a postcard.
So what?
Suddenly, he takes an airplane from New York to see him. An airplane.
Well, so?
Why?
I don't read minds, do you?
Why, Joe? What has Steve suddenly got to tell him that is so important that he takes an airplane to see him?
What do I care what Steve's got to tell him?
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Be smart, Joe. That boy is coming. Be smart.
Once and for all, did you hear what I said? I said I'm sure.
All right, Joe. Just be smart. Did you have to put on good pants to do that? Look how much more light there is with that thing on.
I thought you were supposed to be dressing.
It's suffocating upstairs. I made some grape drink for Georgie. Grape was always his favorite. Have some.
Well, come on, let's get dressed. And what's Dad sleeping so much for?
He's worried. He's worried he sleeps. Chris, Dad and I are dumb. We're stupid people. We don't know anything. You've got to protect us.
Oh, Mother, you're silly. Now, what's there to be scared of?
To his last day in court, Steve never gave up on the idea that your dad made him do it. If they're going to reopen the case, I won't pay for it.
Oh, Mother, now, George is just a damn fool. How can you take him seriously?
That family hates us. Maybe even Annie.
Oh, now, Mother.
You don't understand. You think because you like everybody, everybody likes you.
All right, Mother, now cut it out. Just leave everything to me, huh?
When George goes, tell her to go with him.
Mother, don't worry about Annie.
Steve is her father, too.
Now cut it out. Now, come, let's get dressed, huh?
You don't understand. You don't realize how people can hate, Chris. They can hate so much they'll tear the world to pieces.
Look, she's dressed already. I just got to put on a shirt.
Are you feeling well, Kate?
What's the difference, dear? The sicker some people get, the longer they live.
You look nice.
Going to tell her tonight.
Absolutely, don't worry about it.
Tell her no, I can't stand scheming. Stomach gets hard.
It's not scheming. We'll wait to get her into a better mood.
Joe, are you going to sleep all day?
The only one who's relaxed is your father. He's fast asleep.
I'm relaxed.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, look. Let me know when George comes, huh?
Johnny, come in your supper.
It's my husband. Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
It's all right. I'm a little silly about the dark.
Oh, it is getting dark.
Are you looking for your husband?
As usual, he spends so much time here, they'll be charging him rent.
Nobody was dressed, so he drove over to the depot to pick up my brother.
Oh, your brother's in.
Yeah, I mean, he ought to be back any minute now. You have a cold drink?
I will, thanks. My husband too hot to drive me to the beach. Men are like little boys. For the neighbors, they'll always cut the grass.
Oh, people like to do things for the Kellers. It's been that way since I can remember.
It's amazing having your brother come in to give you away.
Well, I suppose.
Oh, you must be all nerved up.
Oh, it's always a problem getting yourself married, isn't it?
Well, that depends upon your shape, of course, although I don't see why you should have a problem.
Not chances.
I'll bet. It's romantic, although unusual to me, marrying the brother of your sweetheart.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's mostly that whenever I need someone to tell me the truth, I always thought of Chris. If he tells you something, you know it's so. He likes me.
And he's got money. That's important, you know.
It wouldn't matter to me.
Oh, you'd be surprised. It makes all the difference. I married an intern on my salary, and that was bad. Because as soon as a woman supports a man, he owes her something. You can never owe somebody without resenting them.
Underneath, I think the doctor's very devoted.
Oh, certainly. But it's bad when a man always sees cigars in front of him. Jim thinks he's in jail all the time.
Oh.
And that's why I've been intending to ask you a small favor, Anne. It's very important to me.
Well, certainly, if I can do it.
Oh, you can. When you take up housekeeping, find a place away from here.
Are you fooling?
Oh, I'm serious. My husband is very unhappy with Chris around.
How is that?
Oh, Jim's a successful doctor, but he's got this idea that he'd like to do medical research, discover things, you see.
Well, isn't that good?
Research pays $25 a week, minus the laundering of the hair shirt. You've got to give up everything to go into it.
So how does Chris?
Oh, Chris makes people want to be better than it's possible to be. He does that to people.
Is that bad?
My husband has a family, dear. Every time he has a session with Chris, he feels as though he's compromising by not giving up everything for research. As though Chris or anybody else isn't compromising. It happens to Jim every couple of years. He meets the man, he makes a statue on him.
Maybe he's right. I don't think Chris is a
Now,
statue.
John, you know that's not right.
I don't agree with you.
Oh, let's face it, dear. Chris is working with his father, isn't he? He's taking money out of that business every week.
What of it?
You asked me, what of it?
I certainly do ask you. You aren't cast aspersions like that. I'm surprised at you.
Surprising me.
He'd never take 5 cents out of that plant if there was anything wrong in it.
You know that.
I know that. And I resent everything you've said.
You know what I resent, dear.
Please, I don't want to argue. you.
I resent living next to the Holy family. It makes me look like a bum, you understand?
Can't do anything about that.
Who is here to ruin a man's life? Everybody knows Joe pulled a fast one to get out of jail.
That's not
Well, then
true.
why don't you go talk to people? Go ahead and talk to them. There's not a person on this block that doesn't know the truth.
That's a lie. People come here all the time for cards.
So what? They give him credit for being smart. I do too. I've got nothing against Joe. But if Chris wants people to put on the hair shirt, let him take off the broadcloth. He's driving my husband crazy with that phony idealism of his, and I'm at the end of my rope on it. Hello, darling. How's mother?
I thought George came.
No, it's just us two.
Susie, do me a favor, huh? Go upstairs and check on Mother. She's all worked up.
Oh, she doesn't know about you two.
Well, she suspects it, I guess. You know my mother.
Yes, she's psychic.
See if there's something in the medicine cabinet.
Oh, don't worry, I'll give her one of everything. A few drinks, spin her around, and she'll love in. Because you're the female version of him. Don't worry, I said version.
Oh, she's an interesting woman, isn't she?
Yeah, she's very interesting.
She's a great nurse, too, you know.
You still doing that?
Doing what?
As soon as you get to know someone, you find a distinction for them.
Damn, what happened here?
That woman hates you. She despises
Hey,
you.
what's hit you?
Oh, gee, Chris.
What is it, Ann?
Why didn't you tell me?
Tell you what?
She says they think Joe is guilty.
Oh, what does it matter what they think?
I don't care what they think. I just don't know why you took the trouble to deny it. You said it was all forgotten.
I didn't want you to feel that there was anything wrong in you coming here, and that's all. I know that there are still a lot of people who think my father is guilty, and I just didn't want there to be a doubt in your mind.
I never once said I suspected
Well,
you.
nobody says it.
Chris, I know how much you love
Do you
me.
think I could forgive him if he had done that thing?
I am not here out of the blue sky, Chris. I turned my back on my father. If there's anything wrong here now...
I know that, Ann.
George is coming from Dad, and I don't think it's with his blessing.
George is welcome here. You've got nothing to fear from George.
Tell me that. Just tell me that.
The man is innocent, Anne. Remember, he was falsely accused once, and it nearly put him through hell. How would you behave if you were forced to deal with that same thing again? There's nothing wrong for you here, kiddo. Believe me, huh? Believe me, kid, there's nothing wrong for you. Come on.
Right, Chris, all right.
Whoa! Every time I come out here, it looks like Playland!
I thought you were supposed to be shaving.
Wait a minute, I just got up. I can't see nothing.
You look shaved.
Oh no, gotta be extra special tonight. Big night tonight, Annie. So how's it feel to be a married woman?
I don't know yet.
Hey, what's the matter? You slipping?
The great roue.
Oh, and what is that? Roue.
It's French.
Hey, don't talk dirty.
You ever met a Peter Ignoramus?
Hey, somebody's gotta make a living here.
That's telling him.
Everyone's getting so goddamn educated there'll be nobody left to take out the garbage, huh? It's getting so only the dumb ones left are the bosses.
Oh, you're not so dumb, Joe.
But you take our plant, for instance. I got so many colonels, lieutenants, majors. I'm ashamed to ask somebody to sweep the floor. I gotta be careful, I'll insult somebody. No kidding. It's a tragedy. You stand on the street today and spit, you're gonna hit a college man.
Yeah, well, don't spit.
I'm just saying, it's coming to pass. Annie, I've been thinking, your brother George. I've been thinking about your brother George. When he comes, I'd like you to brooch something to him for me.
Brooch.
What's the matter with brooch?
It's not English.
Hey, when I went to night school, it was brooch.
Well, in day school, it's brooch.
Dumps around me, huh? Seriously, Ann, you say he's not well, George. And I'm thinking, why should he knock himself out in New York with all that cutthroat competition? So many friends right here. Very friendly with some big-time lawyers in town, and I can set George up right here.
It's awfully nice of you, Joe.
Okay, it ain't nice of me, and I want you to understand me. I'm thinking about Chris. What I mean to say is, as you get older, you want to feel that you accomplished something, huh? My only accomplishment is Chris. I ain't brainy, that's all I accomplished. Now a year, 18 months goes by, your father will be a free man. And who's he gonna come to, man? His baby, you. He's gonna come old and mad into your house.
Can't matter anymore, Joe.
Well, I don't want that hate to come between us.
I can only tell you it would never happen.
You're in love now, Amy, but believe me, I'm older than you and I know. Father is a father and a daughter is a daughter, and it could happen. Like you and George should go to him in prison and tell him, Dad, Joe wants to bring you into the business when you get out.
You'd have him as a partner?
No, no partner, a good job. I want him to know, Amy. I want him to know while he's sitting there that he's got a place waiting for him when he gets out. It'll take the bitterness away. You know, you got a place. It sweetens you.
Joe, you owe him nothing.
I owe him a good kick in the teeth, but he's your father.
Then kick him in the teeth. I don't want him working in the plant, so that's that. And don't talk about him that way. People misunderstand you.
I don't understand why she has to crucify
Yeah,
him.
well, it's her father. If
No,
she feels that
no.
way, why? How was it to you? Why?
Because a father is a father!
I better shave. I didn't mean to yell at you, Amy.
Forget the whole thing, Joe.
Right. She's like a blonde.
Hey, go shave, will ya?
Right again.
I forgot all about it. Oh, hiya. I promised I'd do Kate's hair for tonight. Did she call it yet?
Always a smile, hey Lydia?
Oh, sure, why not?
Sure, come on up and comb Katie's hair. Big night tonight. Make her beautiful, huh?
I will.
Hey, that could be a song. Come on up. Come on up. Comb my Katie's hair. Come on up. Come on up. She's my lady's fair. Hey, that ain't bad for 1 year in night school, huh? Come on up. Come on up. And comb my Katie's hair.
Hey, what is it? What's the matter? Where is he?
Where's your mother?
Upstairs, dressing?
What happened to George?
I told him to wait in the car. Listen to me now. Take some advice. Do not bring him in here.
Why?
Kate's in bad shape. You can't explode this in front of her.
Explode what?
You know why he's here. Don't try to kid it away. There's blood in his eyes. Drive him somewhere. Talk to him alone.
Oh, don't be such an old lady.
He's come to take her home. What does that mean? You know what it means. Fight it out with him somewhere else.
I'll drive him somewhere.
No.
Will you stop being an idiot?
Oh, cut that out. Come on. Nobody's afraid of him here. Well, hell of a way to do, George. What are you standing out there for, George? Come on up. We've been waiting for you all afternoon.
Doctor said your mother isn't well.
Yeah, so what, George? She'd want to see you, wouldn't she? George, how have you been?
This is filthy. Didn't you bring another shirt?
How about the beach, Jim?
No, it's too hot to drive.
I'll get to the station, Zeppelin.
George, this is Mrs. Bayless. George,
Hi, how do
this
you
is
do?
Bayless.
You're the people who bought our house, aren't you?
Yes, that's right. Why don't you stop by before you leave?
I liked it the way it was.
Well, he's frank, isn't he?
Take it easy, fella. We'll see you later.
Hey, thanks for driving him. How about some grape juice, George, huh? My mother made it especially for you.
Good old Kate. Remembered my grape juice.
Yeah, well, you drank enough of it in this house, George. Have a seat, George. Sit down. How have you
Takes
been?
me a minute. Seems impossible.
What?
I'm back here.
Say, you've gotten a little nervous, haven't you?
Yeah, towards the end of the day. So what are you, big executive now?
Just sort of medium. How's the law?
I don't know. When I was studying in the hospital, it seemed sensible, but outside there doesn't seem to be much of a law. Boy, the trees got thick, didn't they? What's that?
Oh, that it blew down last night. We had it there for Larry, you know.
Why? Afraid you'll forget him?
Hey, what kind of a remark is
So
that?
when did you start wearing a hat?
Today. From now on, I decided to look like a lawyer anyway. Don't you recognize him?
Why?
It's your father's. He asked me to wear it.
How is he?
He got smaller.
Smaller?
Yeah, little. He's a little man. That's what happens to suckers, you know. It's a good thing I went through in time. Another year, there'd be nothing left but his smell.
Hey, what's the matter, George, huh? What's the trouble?
Trouble? The trouble is when you make suckers out of people once, you shouldn't try to do it twice.
What do you mean by that?
You're not married yet, are you?
You sit down.
Are you married yet?
No, I'm not married yet.
You're not going to marry him
Why am I not going to marry him?
because his father destroyed your family.
Hey, now look here,
Cut it
George.
short, Chris. Tell her to come home with me. Let's not argue. You know what I've got to say.
Look, George, you don't want to be the voice of God now, do you, George?
I'm telling you.
Because that's been in trouble your whole life. George, you dive into things, huh? What kind of statement is that to me? You're a big boy now.
I'm a big boy now.
Yeah, George, you're a big boy. So don't come bullying in here. If you've got something to say, be civilized about it.
Don't civilize me.
Hey, shoot and talk like a grown man or argue.
Sit down, dear, and don't be angry. What's the matter? Now, what happened? You kissed me when I left, and now
My life turned upside down since then. I couldn't go back to work when you left. I wanted to go to Dad and tell him you were to be married. It seemed impossible not to tell him. He loved you so much. Annie, we did a terrible thing. We can never be forgiven. Not even to send him a card at Christmas. I didn't see him once since I got back from the war. Annie, you don't know what was done to that man. You don't know what happened.
of course I know.
You can't know. You wouldn't be here. Dad came into work that day. The night foreman came to him and showed him the cylinder heads. They were coming out of the process with defects. There was something wrong with the process. So Dad went directly to the phone and called here and told Joe to come down right away. But the morning passed. No sign of Joe. So Dad called again. By this time he had over 100 defectives. The Army was screaming for the stuff and Dad didn't have anything to ship. So Joe told him on the phone, he told him to weld, to cover up the cracks any way he could and ship them out.
Are you through now?
I'm not through now. Dad was afraid. He wanted Joe there if he was going to do it. But Joe can't come. He's sick. He suddenly gets the flu. Suddenly. But he promised to take responsibility. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? On the telephone, you can't have responsibility. In a court, you can always deny a phone call, and that is exactly what Joe did. They knew he was a liar the first time. But in the appeal, they believed that rotten lie. And now Joe is the big shot, and your father is the patsy. Now what are you going to do? Eat his food? Sleep in his bed? Answer me, what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do, George?
He's too smart for me, I can't prove a phone.
Then how can you come in here with that rot?
George, the court can open.
The court didn't know your father, but you know him. You know in your heart Joe did it.
Hey, George, lower your voice. Lower your voice or I'll throw you out of here.
She knows. She knows.
Yeah, get him out of here. Get him out.
George, I know everything you said. Dad told this whole thing in court.
The court didn't know him.
But he'll say anything, George. You know how quick he can lie.
I'll ask you something. Look me in the eye when you answer.
Yeah, I'll look you in the eye.
You know your father.
I know him well.
And he's the kind of boss to allow 121 cylinder heads to be repaired and shipped out of his shop without even knowing about it.
He's that kind of boss.
And that's the same Joe Keller who never left his shop without first going around to see that all the lights were out.
The same Joe Keller.
Same man who knows how many minutes a day his workers spend in the toilet.
The same man.
And my father, that frightened mouse who wouldn't buy a shirt without somebody along, that man would dare to do such a thing on his own?
On his own. And here's another thing he'd do, George. Because he's such a frightened little mouse, he'd throw the blame onto somebody else because he's not man enough to take it on himself. He tried that trick in court, George, but it didn't work. But with a fool like you, it works.
Oh, Chris, you're a liar to yourself.
Don't talk like that!
George, what happened, huh, George? The court record was good enough for you all these years, huh, George? You believed it all these years, George. Tell me, George, why did you believe it for all those years?
Because you believed it! That's the truth, Chris. I believed everything because I thought you did. But today I heard it from his mouth. From his mouth, it's altogether different than the record. Anyone who knows him and knows your father will believe it from his mouth. Your dad took everything we have. I can't beat that. She is one item that he is not going to grab. Get your things. Everything they have is covered in blood. You're not the kind of girl who can live with that. Get your things.
And you're not going to believe that, are you?
No, it's not true.
How can he tell you it's his father? None of these things ever even crossed your mind?
Yes, they crossed my mind. Anything can cross your mind.
He knows, Annie. He knows.
The voice of God.
Well, then why isn't your name on the business?
Oh, what does that have anything to do with it?
Why isn't his name on it?
Even when I don't own it
Oh,
yet.
come off it! Who gets it when he dies? Open your eyes. You know the both of them, isn't that the first thing they do? The way they love each other? J.O. Keller and Son. I'll settle it. You want to settle it, or are you afraid to?
Now, what do you mean by that?
Let me go up and talk to your father. 10 minutes, you'll have the answer. Or are you afraid of the
No,
answer?
George, I'm not afraid of the answer. I know the answer. But Mother isn't feeling well right now, and I don't want to start a fight here now, George.
Let me go to
No,
him.
George, you're not going to start a fight here now.
Well, what do you want?
Someone's coming.
You won't say anything now.
You'll go soon. I'll call a
You're
cab.
coming with me.
And don't mention marriage because we haven't told her yet.
You're coming
You
with me.
understand me, George? Don't. You're not starting anything now.
Georgie! Georgie!
Hello, Kate.
You made an old man out of you. Look, you're gray.
I know.
I told you when you went away not to try for any medals.
I didn't try, Kate. They made it very easy for me.
Go on, you're all alike. And you? What do you mean telling me he's fine? Look at him, he looks like a ghost.
I feel all right.
I'm sick to look at you. What's the matter with your mother? Why don't she feed you?
Just hasn't any appetite.
If he lived in my house, he'd have an appetite. Pity your lift. Sit down, I'll make you a seat.
No, I'm really not hungry.
Honest to God, breaks my heart what happened to all the children. We worked, planned for you. You end up no better than us.
You haven't changed at all. You know that, Kate?
None of us have changed, Georgie. We all love you. Joe was just talking about the day you were born and the water got shut off, and all the neighbors came from a block away carrying basins. A stranger would have thought the whole neighborhood was on fire. Why didn't you give him a drink?
I offered some.
Offered it to him. Give it to him. Now, you're going to sit here, drink some juice, and look like something.
Kate, I feel hungry already.
No kidding. She could turn Mahatma Gandhi into a heavyweight.
Hey, the hell with the restaurant. I got a ham in the icebox, some strawberries.
Oh, I'll help you.
The train leaves at 8:30, ma'am.
You're leaving here?
No, Mother, she's not.
You hardly got here. Give yourself a chance to get acquainted again.
George, it's like you don't even recognize us anymore.
Well, if they can't stay, Chris.
No, Mother, it's just a question of George. Whether or not
Wait
he
a
wants-
minute, Chris.
Hey, listen, George, you want to leave? I'll drive you to the train station myself. But if you're going to stay, then no arguments while you're here.
Why would he argue? Georgie and us have no arguments. How could we? We were all hit by the same lightning, Georgie. How could you? Did you see what happened to Larry's tree? Imagine, the other night while I was upstairs dreaming of him, the wind came and split it in half.
Hey! Georgie! 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 Georgie!
Hello, Laffy. What did you do, grow?
I'm a big girl now.
Look what she can do with a hat.
Oh, did you make that?
In 10 minutes.
I only rearranged it.
You still make your own clothes?
Yeah, ain't she classy? All she needs now is a Russian wolfhound.
It feels like somebody's sitting on my head.
Oh, no, it's beautiful, Kate.
She's a genius. You should have married her. She could feed you.
Stop that, Kate.
Oh, didn't I hear that you had a baby?
You don't hear so good. She's got 3 babies.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was.
3.
It was 1, 2, 3. You've been away a long time, Georgie.
I'm beginning to realize.
That's the trouble with you. You think too much.
Well, we think too.
Yes, do, but not all the time.
They never took Frank.
No, he was always 1 year ahead of the draft.
It was amazing. When they were calling boys 27, Frank was just 28. When they made it 28, he was just 29. That's how he got interested in astrology. It's all in when you were born. Just goes to show.
What does it go to show you, Mother?
Don't be so intelligent. Some superstitions are very nice. Did Frank finish Larry's horoscope?
I'm going in now. I'll ask him. Want to come see my babies?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Good luck, George.
Thanks. And to you. And Frank.
Oh, Frank!
She got pretty, didn't she?
Very pretty.
She's beautiful, you damn fool.
She makes it seem so nice around here.
Look what happened to you because you didn't listen to me. I told you to marry that girl and stay out of the war.
She used to laugh too much.
And you didn't laugh enough. While you were busy getting mad at fascism, Frank was getting into her bed.
He won the war. Frank.
All the battles.
I told you the day they started the draft that you loved them.
And truer love hath no man.
I'm smarter than all of you.
She's wonderful.
And now you're going to listen to me. You had big principles, Georgie. Eagle Scouts, the 3 of you. So now, I got a tree. And this one, when it's bad out, can't stand on his feet. And that big dope who lives next door, never reads anything but Andy Duck, has 3 children and his house paid off. Stop being a philosopher, Georgie. Look after yourself. It's like Joe says, you move here, we'll help you get settled. I'll find your girl, put a smile on your face.
Joe. Joe wants me here.
He asked me to tell you. I think it's a good idea.
Certainly, George. Why must you make believe that you hate us? Is that another of your principles that you have to hate us? You don't hate us, Georgie. I know you. You can't fool me. I diapered you. Mr. Marcy's daughter.
Oh, she's got you hooked already.
Look her over, George. You'll see she's a beauty.
She got warts, George.
She doesn't have warts. She's got a beauty mark on her chin.
And she's got 2 real big ones right on her nose.
Her father's a retired police inspector.
He's a police sergeant, George.
He's a very kind man.
He looks like a gorilla.
Well, he never shot anybody.
Well, look who's here. Gee, good to see you.
How are you, Joe?
So, getting old? Coming out to dinner with us?
No, gotta be back in New York.
I'll go call your cab.
Too bad you can't stay, George. Sit down. He looks fine.
He looks terrible.
That's what I said. You look terrible, George. I wear the bandage, he beats me with the belt, huh?
Saw your plant on the way from the station. Looks like General Motors.
Well, I wish it was General Motors, but it ain't. Sit down, George, sit down. So, finally went to see your father, I hear.
Yes, this morning. So, what kind of stuff do you make now?
Oh, a little of everything. Pressure cookers, assemblies for washing machines. Got a nice flexible plan now. So, how'd you find Dad? Feeling all right?
No, he's not well, Joe.
Oh, not his heart again, is it?
It's everything, Joe. It's his soul.
Hey, George, why don't we go see what they did with your old house, huh, George?
Leave him be.
I'd like to talk to him.
Sure, he just got here. That's the way they do, George. Little man makes a mistake, they hang him by the thumbs. The big ones, well, they become ambassadors. I should have told me you were going to see Dad today.
Didn't know you were interested.
In a way, I am. As far as I'm concerned, George, he's always got a place with me. I'd like him to know that.
He hates your guts, Joe. Didn't you know that?
I imagined it. That can change too.
He was never like that.
Well, he's like that now. He'd like to take every man who made money in the war and put him up against a wall.
Yeah, well, he'll need a lot of bullets.
And he better not get any.
It's a sad thing to hear.
Why? What did you expect him to think of you?
Sad to see that he hasn't changed. All these years I've known him, 25 years, the man never learned how to take the blame. But you know that, George.
Well, I also
But you
know
do
that.
know it. Because the way you come in here, you don't act like you remember it. Like in 37 when we had that shop on Flood Street, and he damn near blew us all up with that heater he left burning for 3 days without water. He wouldn't admit that was his fault, and I had to fire a mechanic to save face. You remember that.
Yes, but that doesn't
Just
change.
another one of a lot of things, George. Like when he gave Frank that money for the oil stock.
I know that.
Well, it's good to remember these things, kid. The way he cursed Frank when the stock went down. Was that Frank's fault? Well, to listen to him, Frank was a swindler. And all the man did was give him a bad tip.
I know these things.
Well, then remember them. Remember them. There's certain men in this world, George, who'd rather see everybody else hung before they'll take the blame. You understand me, George?
The cab's on its way.
Shall I wash? Why must he go? Make the midnight, Georgie.
Sure, you'll have dinner with us.
Oh, how about it? Why not? We're eating at the lake. We could have a swell time.
Oh, all right.
Now you're talking.
I've got a shirt that'll go with that suit, George.
Size 15 and a half, right?
Is Lydia, I mean, Frank and Lydia coming?
I'll find you a date.
No, I don't want to.
Oh, I just the girl for you, George. Charlotte Tanner.
Call her up. You go up and pick out a shirt and tie.
I never felt at home anywhere but here. Feel so. Kate, you look so young. You know that? You haven't changed at all. You too, Joe. You're amazingly the same. The whole atmosphere is.
Say, I ain't got time to be sick.
He hasn't been laid up in 15 years.
Except my flu during the war.
Huh?
My flu when I was sick. The war?
Of course, except for the flu. I meant except for the flu. It slipped my mind. Don't look at me like that. He wanted to go down to the shop, but he was so sick he couldn't lift himself off the bed. He thought he had pneumonia.
Why did you say he's never been sick?
I know how you feel, kid. I'll never forgive myself. If I could have gone in that day, I would have told him, don't touch those
She
heads.
just said you've never been sick.
I said he was sick, Georgie.
Annie, didn't you just hear her say he's never been sick?
Do you remember every time you were sick?
I remember pneumonia, especially if I got it just the day my partner was going to patch up cylinder heads. What happened that day, Joe?
Kate! Kate!
Frank! Frank, did you see George?
Yeah, Lydia told me. I'm glad to... Oh, pardon me. I've got something amazing for you, Kate. I finished Larry's horoscope.
Frank, George, you would be so interested
Hey,
in
George!
this.
George, that girl's on the phone for you, George.
He finished Larry's horse.
Oh, Frank, can't you pick a better time than this?
The greatest man who ever lived believed in the stars.
Frank, stop filling her head with that junk.
Is it junk to feel that there's a greater power than ourselves? I won't argue with you. I'm telling you, I've studied the stars of his life. Somewhere in this world, your brother is alive.
Why isn't it possible?
Because it's insane.
Just a minute now. I'll tell you something and you can do as you please. Just let me say it. He was supposed to have died on November 25th. But November 25th was his favorable day.
Mother!
Listen to him.
It was a day where everything good was shining on him. The kind of day he should have married on. You can laugh at a lot of it. I could understand you laughing. But the odds are 1,000,000 to 1 that a man won't die on his favorable day. That's known. That's known, Chris.
Why isn't it possible? Why isn't it possible?
Don't you understand what she's saying? She just told you to go. Why are you still waiting?
Hey, nobody can tell her to go.
Thank you so much for your trouble, Frank Dolan. Would you ask them just to wait?
Sure thing.
They'll be right out, driver.
No, Mother, she's not going anywhere.
Heard her say it. He's never been sick.
He misunderstood me, Chris.
He simply told your father to kill pilots and then covered himself in bed.
Hey, answer him, man. You better answer him.
I've packed your bag.
What?
I've packed your bag. All you have to do is close it.
I'm not closing anything. He asked me here, and I'm staying till he tells me to go. Till Chris tells me.
That's it. No more. Now you hear that, George? Now just go home. Just get out.
But if that's how
No more. Not another word until Christ himself comes down. Not about the case or about Larry. So long as I'm here. Now just get out of here, George. Just get out.
You tell me. I want to hear you tell me.
Go, George. Oh, don't take it that way, George. George, please.
No, what do you mean you packed her bag? How dare you pack her bag?
Chris.
How dare you pack her bag?
She doesn't belong here.
Then I don't belong here.
She's Larry's girl.
And I'm his brother. And Larry is dead. And I'm marrying his girl.
Never, never in this world.
Lost your mind?
You have nothing to say.
Oh, I got plenty to say. For 3 years you've been talking like...
You have nothing to say. Now I say. Now I say everybody has got to wait.
How long? How long?
Until he comes. Forever and ever until he comes.
Mother, I'm going ahead with it.
Chris, I have never said no to you. I am saying no now.
You'll never let him go until I do it.
I'll never let him go, and you'll never let him go.
I let him go. I let Larry go a long time ago.
Then let your father go.
She's out of her mind.
All together. Your brother is alive, darling, because if he's dead, your father killed him. Do you understand me now? As long as you live, that boy is alive. Because God does not let a son be killed by his father. Now, do you see? Now you see.
She's out of her mind.
Dad, you did it.
He never flew a P-40.
The others.
Oh, she's out of her mind.
So you did it.
He never flew a P-40. What's the matter with
But you did it to the others.
What's the matter with you? What the hell is the matter with you?
How could you do that?
What is the matter with you?
Dad, you killed 21 men.
What killed?
You killed them. You murdered them.
How could I kill anybody?
Dad.
I didn't kill anybody.
Then explain it to me. You explain it to me or I'll tear you to pieces.
Don't, Chris, don't.
Dad, I want to know what you did. No, you had 121 cracked engine heads. Now, what did you do?
If you're gonna hang me, then
I'm listening. God Almighty, I'm listening.
You were a boy. What could I do? I'm in business. A man's in business. 120 cracked, you're out of business. You've got a process. The process don't work, you're out of business. You don't know how to operate. They close your shop. They tear up your contracts. What the hell is it to them? You get 40 years of your life into a business and they knock you out in 5 minutes. What could I do? Let them take 40 years? Let them take my life away? I never thought they'd install them. I swear to God, I thought they'd spot them before they could take off.
Then why did you ship them out?
The time they spotted them, I thought I could have the process going again. I could show them that they needed me, and they let it go by. But weeks passed, I got no kickback, so I was gonna tell them.
Why? Why didn't you tell them?
The papers, it was too late. It was all over the front page, 21 down. It was too late. They came with handcuffs into the shop. Chris, What could I do? Chris, it was a chance and I took it for you. I'm 61 years old. When would I have another chance to make something for you? 61 years old, you don't get another chance, do you?
You haven't knew that they wouldn't hold up in the air.
I didn't say
But you were
that.
going to warn them not to use them.
I don't mean that.
You knew that they cried.
I don't mean that.
Thought they cried.
I was afraid, maybe.
You were afraid. Maybe. God in heaven. What kind of a man are you? Kids were hanging in the air by those heads. You knew that.
For you, Chris. A business for you.
For me. For me. Where you live. Where have you come from? For me. I was out there dying every day. And you were killing my boys. And you did it for me. For me, for the business, the goddamn business. Is that as far as your mind can see? What is that anyway, the world? The business? Don't you live on the earth? Don't you have a country? Where have you come from? What must I do? You're not even a human. You're not even an animal. Not even an animal kills his own. What must I do? I ought to tear the tongue out of your throat. What must I do, Dad? What must I do? Jesus God! Jesus God! What must I do?
Chris. My Chris.
Any news?
No news.
You can't sit up all night, Kate. Why don't you go to bed?
I'm waiting for Chris. Don't worry about me, Chip. I'm perfectly all right.
It's almost 2 o'clock.
I can't sleep. You have an emergency?
Oh, someone had a headache and thought he was dying. Half of my patients are quite mad. Nobody realizes how many people are walking around loose and they're cracked as coconuts. I'd love to be around when that happens.
You're so childish, Jim. Sometimes you are.
Kate, what happened?
I told you. He had an argument with Joe. Got in the car and drove away.
What kind of an argument?
An argument. Joe was crying like a child before.
They argued about Ann?
No, not Anne. Imagine. She's been in that room since he left. All night in that room.
What did Joe do? Tell him?
Tell him what?
Don't be afraid, Kate. I know. I've always known.
How?
It occurred to me a long time ago.
I always thought that at the back of his head, Chris almost knew. Never thought it would be such a shock.
Oh, Chris would never know how to live with a thing like that. It takes a certain talent for lying. You have it, and I do, but not Chris.
What are you saying? He's not coming back?
Oh no, he'll come back. We all come back, Kate. These private little revolutions always die. The compromise is always made. In a peculiar way, Frank's right. Every man does have a star. The star of one's honesty. You spend your life groping for it, but once it goes out, it never lights again. I don't think Chris went very far. He probably just wanted to be alone, to watch his star go out.
Just so long as he comes back.
You know, Kate, I wish he wouldn't. One year, I simply took off. I went to New Orleans, and for 2 months, I lived on bananas and milk, studied a certain disease. It was beautiful. And then she came, and she cried, and I went back home with her. Now I live in the usual darkness. I can't find myself. Sometimes it's even hard to remember the kind of man I wanted to be. But I'm a good husband, and Chris is a good son. He'll come back. I have a feeling he might be down at the park. I'll look around for him there. Put her to bed, Joe. This is no good for what she's got.
What's he doing here?
His friend is not.
I don't like him mixing in so much.
It's too late, Joe. He knows.
How does he know?
He guessed a long time ago.
I don't like that.
What you don't like.
Yeah, what I don't like.
You can't fool yourself to this one, Joe. You better be smart. This thing's not over yet.
What is she doing up there? She don't come out of that room.
I don't know. What is she doing? Sit down. Stop being mad. If you want to live, you better figure out your life.
She don't know, does she?
She saw him storm off. 1 and 1. She know how to add, don't she?
Maybe I ought to talk to her.
Don't ask me, Joe.
Who do I ask? But, I don't think she'll do anything about it.
You're asking again?
I'm asking you. I had a family here. What am I, a stranger? What happened to my family?
You got a family, Joe. I'm simply telling you I don't have the strength to think anymore.
Oh, you don't have the strength. Whenever there's trouble, you don't have the strength.
You're doing it again, Joe. Your whole life. Whenever there's trouble, you yell at me and you think that settles it.
Then what do I do? Tell me, talk to me. What do I do?
I've been thinking this way. If he comes
What do
back,
you mean? He's coming back.
I think if you were to sit him down and explain to him, let him know that you understand that you did a terrible thing. I mean, that you realize what you did. You see?
What ice does that cut?
If you let him know that you were willing to pay for what you've done.
How can I pay?
Tell him you're willing to go to prison.
I'm willing to what?
You wouldn't go, he wouldn't make you go. But if you could see that you wanted to pay for what you'd done, I mean, If he understood, then maybe he would forgive you.
Forgive me for what?
Oh, you know what I mean.
I don't know what you mean. You wanted money, so I made you money. Forgiven. You wanted money, didn't you?
I didn't want it that way.
Well, I didn't want it that way either. Oh, what difference does it make? I spoiled the both of you. I should have put him out at 10 like I was put out. Make him earn his keep. Then he'd see how a buck is made in this world. Forgiven. I could live on a quarter myself, but I got a family, so I...
It don't excuse anything that you did it for the family, Joe.
It's got to excuse it.
There's something bigger than the family to him.
There's nothing bigger.
There is to him.
There's nothing he could do that I wouldn't forgive. I'm his father and he's my son. There's nothing bigger than that. And you're going to tell him, you understand? I'm his father and he's my son. And if there's something bigger than that, well, I'll put a bullet in my head.
You stop that.
You heard me. Now you know what to tell him. But he wouldn't put me away, though. He wouldn't do that, would he?
He followed you, Joe. He broke his heart.
But to put me away?
I don't know. I don't think we know him. They say in the war he was such a killer. Here he was afraid of mice. I don't know him. I don't know what he'll do.
God damn. If Larry were alive, he wouldn't act like this. He understood the way the world was made. He listened to me. To him, the world had a 40-foot front, and it ended at the building line. This one, everything bothers him. You make a deal, you overcharge 2 cents, and his hair falls out. You don't understand money. Too easy. It came too easy. Yes, sir, Larry. That's the boy we lost. Larry. Larry. What am I gonna do, Kate?
Oh, it'll be all right. Nothing's gonna happen.
Just for you, Kate, for the both of you. That's all I ever lived for.
I know.
Why do you stay up? I'll tell you when he comes.
You didn't have supper yet, did you? Why don't you make her something?
Never mind, Kate, I'm all right. There's something I want to tell you. I'm not going to do anything about it.
She's a good girl.
I'll do nothing about Joe. But you're going to do something for me. You made Chris feel guilty with me. Whether you wanted to or not, you crippled him in front of me. I want you to tell him that Larry is dead, and you know it. You understand me? I'm not leaving here alone. There is no life for me that way. I want you to set him free. And then I promise you, everything, Len will go away, that's all.
You'll do that. You'll tell him.
You know what I'm asking, Kate? You had 2 sons, but you only got 1 now.
You'll tell him.
And you've got to say it to him so he knows you mean it.
My dear, if the boy were dead, it would not depend on my words to make Chris know it. The night he got into your bed, his heart would dry up. Because he knows, and you know, that he will always wait for his brother. No such thing. You are leaving in the morning, and you are leaving alone. That is your lonely life. Your lonely life.
Larry is dead, Kate.
Don't speak to me.
I said he's dead. I know. He crashed off the coast of China November 25th. His engine didn't fail him, but he died. I know.
You're lying to me. If you know, tell me how he died. If you know, tell me.
I loved him. You know I loved him. Would I have looked at anyone else if I wasn't sure? That's enough for you.
What do you mean that's enough for me? What aren't you saying? Tell me.
Joe, go in the house.
Why should I?
Please go.
Let me know when he comes.
What's that? Sit down. First, you gotta understand, when I came here, I had no idea about Joe. I had nothing against him or you. I came to get married. I hoped that... So I didn't bring this to hurt you. I thought he showed you only if there was no other way to settle Larry.
Larry?
He wrote it to me just before you... I made me show it to you. I'm not trying to hurt you. Kate, remember. Oh, remember, Kate, I've been so lonely. I can't leave here alone again. You won't believe me. I'm not trying to hurt you. I told you 100 times. Why wouldn't you believe me? Oh, God. Please, please. Oh, Kate, I'm sorry. I am so sorry.
What is it? What's the matter?
Where were you? You're all perspired. Where were you?
I just drove around a little. I thought you'd be gone.
Where do I go? I have no place to go.
Where's Dad?
Inside, lying down.
All right. Sit down, both of you. I'll say what there is to say.
I didn't hear the car.
I left it in the garage.
Jim's out looking for you.
I'm going away, Mother. There are a couple of firms in Cleveland. I think I can get a job. I mean, I'm going away for good. I know what you're thinking, Anne, and it's true. I'm yellow. I was made yellow in this house because I suspected my father and I did nothing about it. But if I had known that night when I came home what I know now, well, he'd be in the district attorney's office by now and I'd have brought him there. But now if I look at him, all I'm able to do is cry.
What are you talking about? What else could you do?
I could jail him. I could jail him if I were human anymore. But I'm not. I'm just like everybody else now. I'm practical now. You made me practical.
But you have to be.
The cats in that alley are practical. The bums who ran away when we were fighting, they were practical. Only the dead ones weren't practical. But now I'm practical. I spit on myself. I'm going away. I'm going away now.
Coming with you?
No, Ann.
Chris, I don't ask you to do anything about it.
You do.
I swear I never will.
But in your heart, you always will.
Then do what you have to do.
I've searched all night for a reason to make him suffer.
There's reason. There's reason.
Why? Do I raise the dead when I put him behind bars? Then what good will it do? You know, in the army, we used to shoot a man who acted like a dog, but at least honor was real there. You were protecting something. But here, this is the land of the great big dogs. You don't love a man here, you eat him. That's the principle. That's the only one we live by it. It just happened to kill a few people this time, that's all. You know, the world is that way. How can I take it out on him? You know, what sense does that make? This place is a zoo. This is a zoo.
You know what he has to do. Tell him. Let him go. I won't let him go. Tell him what he has to do. Anything I will.
What's the matter with you? I want to talk to you.
Yeah, I got nothing to say to you.
I want to talk
Don't
to you.
do that, Dad. If you do that, I'm going to hurt you. There's nothing to say, so say it quick.
What's the matter? Exactly what's the matter? You got too much money? Is that what bothers you?
It bothers me.
If you can't get used to it, then throw it away. Take every cent and give it to charity. Throw it in the sewer. Does that settle it? In the sewer. You think I'm kidding? I'm telling you what to do. If that money's dirty, then burn it. It's your money. It's not my money. I'm a dead man. I'm an old dead man. Nothing's mine. Well, talk to me. What do you want to do?
It's not what I want to do, Dad. It's what are you going to do?
Should I want to do? What? Jail. You want me to go to jail?
If that's what you want, then say so. If that's where I belong, then tell me so. What's the matter? Why can't you tell me? You say everything else to me. Say that. I'll tell you why. Because you know I don't belong there. Go! Did they work for nothing in this war? When they work for nothing, then I'll work for nothing. Did they ship a gun or a truck out of Detroit before they got their price? Is that clean? It's dollars and cents, nickels and dimes, war and peace. It's nickels and dimes. What's clean? Half the goddamn country's gotta go if I gotta go. And that's why you can't tell me.
That's exactly why.
Then why am I bad?
I know you're no worse than most men, but I thought you were better. I never saw you as a man. I saw you as my father. Now I can't even look at you. I can't even look at myself.
Give me that. Go and read it. No, Chris, that's not for you.
He
Don't
wrote
go
it to
away.
me when he died.
Go to the street. Chris, don't go to the street. Chris. Chris, don't tell him.
Three and 1/2 years. Talking. Now you tell me what you must do. This is how he died. Now you tell me where you belong.
Chris, a man can't be a Jesus in this world.
I know all about this world. I know the whole crap story. Now you listen to this, and you tell me what a man's got to be. My dear Anne, are you listening? He wrote this the day he died. Don't cry. Just listen. My dear Anne, it is impossible to put down the things I feel. But I've got to tell you something. Yesterday, they flew in a load of papers from the States. And I read about Dad and your father being convicted. I can't express myself. I can't tell you how I feel. I can't bear to live anymore. Last night, I circled the base for 20 minutes before I could bring myself in. How could he have done that? Every day, 3 or 4 men never come back. And he sits back there doing business. I don't know how to tell you what I feel. I can't face anybody. I'm going out on a mission now in a few minutes. They'll probably report me missing. If they do, I want you to know that you mustn't wait for me. I tell you, Anne, if I had him here now, I could kill him. Now blame the world. Do you understand that letter?
I think I do. Get the car, I'll get my jacket.
What are you saying? You'll sleep, don't be foolish. What are you saying?
I can't sleep here. I feel better if I go.
Larry was your son too. He wouldn't want you to do this.
Is this then? I'm not telling you what to do. Sure, Larry was my son. But I think to him they were all my sons. I guess they were. I guess they were. I'll
be break down.
You're not taking him.
I'm taking him.
It's up to you. If you tell him to stay, he'll stay.
Nobody could stop him now.
You'll stop him. How long do you think he'd live in prison? What are you trying to do, kill him?
I thought you read this.
The war is over. Didn't you hear? The war's over.
Then what was Larry to you? A stone that fell into the water? It's not enough for him to be sorry. Larry didn't kill himself to make you or Dad sorry.
What more can we be?
You can be better. For the first time, you can realize that there's a whole universe of people out there, and that you're responsible to it. And if you don't know that, well, then you let your son go, because that's why Larry died. Thank you!
Joe!
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't take it on yourself. Forget. Live.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good night, thank you.
That was a fantastic production. Very, very nice. And I'm so happy that he had a chance to be part of it.
Good night, thank you. I mean, it felt fine when I was over there just now, but you should watch it.
Enjoy the show. I'm glad you did. What's up? I fall down without him.
Thank you.
Stop so I can get around you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you. Absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Great acting, great acting.
I hate to run, but I gotta get Sharon. I'll let you guys know when the shows are, just in case you can get up there.
Ooh, take care of you. Yeah.
No, thanks for knitting.
Great day. Bye-bye. Have a great time.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed. Good.
I have seen a sport back up.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
That's 4 hours.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, because it needed it.